So I told you all that I downloaded Tinder for the third time a month or so ago, right? Last night, I drove an hour and a half to go meet up with this chick, and I matched with her earlier yesterday. So within few hours of matching with her on Tinder, I drove to go see her because she was DTF. So now a lot of you guys might say that Zeke, that by itself should have been a red flag or whatnot. But guys, come on. We know how hoes are nowadays in today's world. They're gonna give it up like frisbee. They're throwing it out like frisbee. You can catch it. You can catch it. Your dog can catch it. Anybody can catch it, right? And I'm, I'm not a bad-looking guy, all right. On my Tinder profile, I have pictures without a shirt on, and I have full-on six-pack, so it's attractive to women. So it's not my first time having one night stands or hookups within a few hours of matching with some chick, some random hoe that I'll never call back after, right? So I'm accustomed to that. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think and look too much into that. But anyways, I drove over there, and when I go there, I was originally supposed to meet her at her house and pick her up from her house. Then when I'm like 10 minutes or no, 20 minutes closer or 20 minutes away from her house, from her town, she tells me, hey, meet me at the mall. It's almost 10 o'clock at night. The mall? What mall is open at this late? First of all, malls are closed anyways for what's going around with the pandemic. So that clicked me for a second. I was like, huh. So am I sensing some sort of flaky vibe right now? Because you know how chicks are. If they're gonna flake on you, they usually try to play these wishy-washy games, try to switch things up on you. And I'm like, all right, what's the address? She sent me the address of the mall. I asked her, so why is the mall open at this late? And she said, oh, the mall's not open. I'm just hanging out with some friends. I don't want to go home, so that's why I want you to come pick me up with my friends. And my friends want to meet you. Another thing, she just switched up on me. She told me that now I'm going to have to meet her friends. I straight up told her, no, I don't want to meet your friends. She said, oh, okay. Then I go over there. I see the car outside of the parked outside of the mall. I park behind it. I don't want her friends seeing me. I don't want to see her friends. I don't want to talk to her friends. None of that. No. I'm there for pumping up and pumping up only. And she comes to my car. I don't see any phone or anything in her hands, right? I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I roll the window down. She goes, you're not a kidnapper, are you? That's the first question she asked me. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. We're doing this back and forth bullshit again, huh? This game. I played this game a couple times before, fellas. That's how I knew exactly what it was. I just started laughing. And I said, no, why would I kidnap you? And she goes back to her friend, said something. I don't know what the hell this said. She comes back. She goes, do you have any money? What? It's been 30 seconds since you met me, and you're already asking me if I have any money. I'm like, why? She goes, because there's a hotel around here that we can just spend the night to. We don't have to go back to your place all the way back an hour and a half away again. That was the first black flag and the first indicator that I should have run from there. Not anything up to this point. There's been a few red flags here and there. You know how she was trying to switch things up on me. How she just asked me, "Oh, you're not a kidnapper, are you?" I mean, that's kind of like a shit test. But the first black flag was when she blatantly, straight up told me that her and I can end up spending the night at the hotel. She suggested me that. I didn't bring that up to her, and it's been a minute that she just met me. That's the first black flag. I'm like, no, it's cheaper if we just go back to my place. She said, okay, 1 second. She goes back to her friends again, third time. And I don't know what the hell this says. She comes back and she goes, well, my friends don't really trust you. I'm like, your friends are not hanging out with me. You're hanging out with me. At this point, I'm getting extremely irritated, fellas. Like, the next time, if she didn't come back and got her ass in my car, I would have drove off. I'm like, you know what? That's enough. I'm done. The only reason why I even gave her 3 chances to go back and forth is because I drove an hour and a half. I invested. This is why I tell you guys not to invest so much. I don't make this videos, fellas, because I just pull this shit out of my ass. No, I'm saying it from personal experience. And I don't know when I'm gonna end up posting this video up, but this incident just happened recently, yesterday. So even I go through stuff like this, even to this day, every now and then, here and there. And that's why it's so important for you to use the red pill in your daily life. And we're going to get to that in a little bit, using the red pill, how I did last night. Anyways, and she goes back after I told her that your friends are not hanging out with me, you're hanging out with me. She's like, okay, well, give me a second. She comes back this time, fourth time, with her phone and her drink. She had like some Quick Trip cup on her hand. She sits back and I'm driving. She's like, what was that all about? She goes, oh, my friends just don't trust you, like they were just not getting a good vibe from you. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? They haven't even met me. She's like, oh yeah, it's like they didn't get a good vibe from you when you said that you don't want to meet them. I'm like, yeah, because it's the first time I'm meeting you. Why would I meet your friends already? So already this whole thing is just irritating me. I'm like, come on. Come on, shut the hell up, girl. You're talking too damn much. You're just killing the whole thing. Just shut your fucking mouth. Let me take you home. You don't need to. The only reason why I drove there to get her ass back to my place, to pick her ass up and bring her over, is so that she doesn't get my address. Yeah, I don't care if I have to make trips back and forth to take her back home and then drop her off and then come back. I would rather not give her my home address than do that, than worry about my gas. So, this also brings up the point that you pay regardless for women. Either you pay at the front end or at the back end. So for those guys or gals who come in here and try to shame men who pay hookers or escorts, I can't believe you can't get any women without paying. You have to trick them. You're paying either ways. You're taking her out on a date, you're paying. You're filling gas up in your car to go meet her, you're paying. You're saying X, Y, and Z, pressing the right buttons, trying to turn her on the phone conversation, you're paying with your time and energy. You're paying regardless. Nothing is free in this world. But anyways, so now we're about to get on the highway. Right before we're about to get on the highway, she goes, oh, can you stop at my house real quick? I live right down the street here. I just got to pick up some clothes because I'm not matching at all. She wasn't matching at all, whatever the hell she was wearing. Now, you guys already know how hoes are when they're posting pictures on Tinder. They will use the best lighting, the best angles, the best whatever to get some sort of a good picture so they can thirst trap men into thinking that they're really a good-looking woman, when in reality, they're 2 numbers below that. If she looks like an 8 on her Tinder profile, she most likely is a 6 or below. If she's a 10 on her Tinder, she most likely is an 8 or below, at least. So, and this is the first, and this was nighttime when I went to go pick her up, so I couldn't get a very good look at her face. But she had good shape. She was on the skinny side with the bubble butt, firm bubble butt. She had some thick lips. She was a Mexican and white mixed chick. So, cute little girl. 19. She's 19 years old. This is very important. I have to mention that her age. Yeah, she's 19 years old. So, young pussy, right? Oh, man. I have all sorts of wild thoughts running in my head. Until now. Until I saw her face when the stoplights hit her face. We were stopped at the stoplight, and the light hit her face. Fellas, I saw all kinds of craters and scars and marks on her face. I'm like, what the hell? Did somebody like throw acid on her face? Sulfuric acid or something, and just burned her face like that? Why does it look like that? Oh my God. My dick just went limp as soon as I saw that. My cock just went, whoop, nope. Like, oh my God. Anyways, so at this point, I'm like 50% into this. I'm like, you know what? I drove. Might as well get some quickie out of this, whatever. And even at this point now that I finally saw her face, I'm starting to reconsider spending the night at that hotel thought. I'm like, you know what? It's not a bad idea if I just spend a little bit more and stay the night here with her in a hotel, and then, instead of taking her back all the way in my town where I live, around my area. Because it's like most likely I was just gonna pump her, dump her, and block her number. That's how irritated I was getting. That's how bad it was getting for me, the whole mood, especially after seeing her face. And like, fellas, yeah, if a woman has good shapes, you can sometimes sacrifice the face, but the ratio didn't match up for her. She has to be an 8 or an above in terms of her shape of her body if her looks are below a 4. If her looks are below a 6, sorry, if her body is a 6 or below and her facial looks, how she looks in the face, is also below a 5 or a 6, no. Screw that. It ain't worth it. Especially for me. After getting laid so many times, I already know how this is going to turn out. All right, come on. Let's do the monkey game. Let's watch the movie. Halfway through the movie, I make my move on her. We start making out. I get on top. I start fingering her. She starts moaning. I start kissing on her neck. I start playing with her nipples. And then I make her flip her over to my side. And then she starts sucking me off. And then I put it in. And then I flip her over in doggy. And I pull her hair back. And then when I'm getting close to bust a nut, I make her suck it. And then I make her swallow it. Like, fellas, it's the whole routine just buried to the stone in the back of my head. I already know exactly how this is going to turn out, and then we're going to put on clothes, and I'm going to take you home. That's it. Right? Anyways, so that's why I'm like, it's not even that worth it anymore. And that's why I'm considering just spending the night here and halfway through the night getting up and leaving. Going to the front desk, checking out, paying my dues. All right, dude, there's a chick sleeping upstairs. If she asks you, you don't know who I am. You don't know my name. Bye. Now, I said, all right, where's your house? Show me where your house is. We're going to her house. On the way to our house, this is where I'm starting to see more and more black flags. The next black flag was she starts saying that I brought up the question. I was like, so where are your parents at? I love to ask that questions, fellas. I also told you guys to ask females how her relationship is with her father and her mother as well. So I always ask this question. She said, oh, my dad's in Mexico and my mom's some other state. I don't live with them. And I don't like my mom. We don't get along. Black flag right there, by the way. I'm like, why? So who do you live with? Where do you live? She said, oh, I live with this guy that I was dating till yesterday. So you're dating with a guy and you're living with him, and who else? She said, oh, and my sister and her boyfriend as well. In the back of my head, I'm going like this. I'm like, oh my God, that's who I'm dealing with tonight, huh? This is what Tinder is, huh? This is why I tell my men to stay off Tinder. And I'm doing the same shit I'm telling everybody else not to do. Right. I really was thinking with the wrong head, right, huh? Last night. But it gets better for me. So thank God I dodged a bullet. But anyways, I said, oh, okay. So what happened? Why'd you guys break up? Oh, he was abusive. He was hitting me. He was pointing fingers at me. And then I couldn't take it anymore. And then I popped him. That's all she said. I popped him. Bitch, what do you mean you popped him? Did you shoot him with a gun? Or did you hit him? Like you punched him? I said, oh, okay. So where's he at now? She's like, oh, he's probably at the house right now. I'm like, oh, thank God. So she didn't kill him. And I said, okay, well, sorry to hear that relationship didn't work out. And she said, yeah, when I first moved here from the other state that I was where I was living with my mom, I started partying and doing a lot of drugs and having a lot of sex. And then I got in a relationship, and now I'm single again, so that's why I decided to get on Tinder. She's telling me all of this, her whole life story, without even me asking her any of this. And she also mentioned that she dropped out of high school. And she's 19. I'm like, so what do you do now? She said, oh, I don't do anything right now. I'm just chilling. I'm going to get a job, probably at Target or something. Do you guys see the black flags after black flags after black flags, fellas? Do you see that now? And I'm like, oh my God, I need to get rid of her. Now, after hearing all this, I don't even want to spend the night at the hotel with her. I just want her to get the hell out of my car so I can drive off. And her going to her house to get clothes, to more clothes, was a perfect timing for me. Because as soon as I dropped her off, or as soon as we went to our house, I said, you know what, I'm going to turn around so it's easier for us to get out of here. She said, yeah, sure. I turned my headlights off, and she's about to leave her phone in my car. I said, you know what, take your phone with you. She goes, why? I'm like, because your ex-boyfriend is still in the house, so he might come out and act crazy on you, so you might need your phone. She goes, oh, no, he ain't going to touch me. If he touches me, I'm just going to call the cops on him. I'm going to pop him again. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. But thank God she still grabbed her phone and left my car. If she didn't, I probably just taken her phone and chucked it out of the window to on the grass or on the concrete. I don't give a fuck if I break her phone. I turn my headlights off and I peel the fuck out. Like my car tires were making rubber noises. My car ain't that fast, but oh my God! And the reason why I turned my headlights off and then peeled off, and I turned them back on when I got away from her enough, like when I created enough distance from her, is because when you have your headlights on, there's a light on your license plate. Your license plate light goes off too when you turn your headlights on in your car. And I did not want her to read my license plate off when I was peeling out. When I was peeling off, I did not want her to read my license plate, so she could come back at me and try to take some sort of revenge. This was a crazy bitch. I don't know what the hell she was gonna do to me. And thank God I dodged a big bullet right there, fellas, last night. I'm like, man, this is a perfect video I gotta talk about for my brothers. Fellas, I'm a human being. Even though I make these red pill content, even though I do all this, I have no problem ever owning up to the stuff like this that I do, the stupid shit that I do, right? I should have cut it off as soon as I saw the distance that she lived an hour and a half away. But it is what it is, you know. Like sometimes you see something that's looking real nice, looking like a snack, you want to go eat it, right? I was thinking with the wrong head, but thank God I caught myself at the right moment and I started thinking with the right head. I say, you know what, it's not even worth it. Because fellas, let's say I did bring her home, right? I probably would have gotten the best head out of her. Probably the best bedroom fun out of her. She was like a 9 or a 10. Most definitely a 9 crazy. And you already know these chicks who are telling me willingly, oh, I've had a lot of sex, I did a lot of drugs and alcohol, I dropped out of high school, only by the age of 19. It's crazy as hell. And we all know how good crazy chicks are in bed. So yeah, I would have gotten the best time of my life. The best 30 minutes, 45 minutes out of my life last night. But what would have happened after that is my question. She wouldn't have left me alone. Hell no. Because she's a leech, a parasite. She's more blatant about it than most of these other women in the society. But all these women are parasites and leeches to hang on to a high-value man who makes a lot of money and has a good head on his shoulders. And you guys have to watch out for these. And she would not have let go of me if she figured out that I'm an engineer and she's a nobody. I didn't tell her what I do for a living. I drive a piece of shit car for a reason. I'm buying houses and I'm driving around in this hoopty for a reason. I don't need people knowing I make a lot of money. I'm a real estate investor. Nobody needs to know anything about that. Keep it all in the down low, fellas. All of it. Be smart with your money and time. That's all I can say, you know. Like, there's not much I can say right now. I knew that my mistakes would make a good video. That's why this experience had to be shared. But this was a learning experience for me. Even to this day, I'm still learning. Even though I have over 300 videos on my channel talking about the red pill, I'm still learning. So for those of you men who come in here and say and think that you have all the answers figured out, you don't. But it's okay. We'll all grow as a team, as a community together. Like and subscribe my video, share my video to your friends, follow me on Instagram, fellas, and just know that these dating app chicks are the worst of the worst of the worst that it can be. Girls who look like 10s on Tinder and girls who look like 2s on Tinder. all belong in the same exact category, which is what? Which is nothing but the lowest category of women in the society. Just remember that. Until next time, stay blessed, stay beautiful, and above all, stay classy.